I am Ivanna Zbrutska, originally from Ukraine, from Kyiv. Before coming to do the MBA here at RSM, I was working. My background is in linguistics, particularly in translation, Chinese and English. That's what I majored during my bachelor's and master's degree before coming for the MBA. My career progression took me through different countries and different companies in different industries. And recently, I've been in Chongqing in China, holding two positions. One at a Chinese R&D Institute, which is also engaged in manufacturing as a consultant, helping them to represent the legal matters whatsoever in Ukraine. And also linking the Ukrainian projects and specialists to explore Chinese market. And the second position within this frame is the administrative director of a joint venture that we just registered this year. So this is the Sino-Ukrainian collaboration. Moreover, last year, when the COVID started, I was appointed as the consultant, which we also call the trade representative of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, helping to bringing Ukrainian companies who would like to enter the Chinese market, and I represent them in Chongqing. So this is a little bit about myself. And you know where I am at the moment. I'm based in Rotterdam, where I've been pursuing the MBA for the past 10 months. I've been holding both of my positions as still working part-time at the same time as doing the MBA. It has not been easy. I have to acknowledge this. Nevertheless, COVID has really helped me in the way of the digitalization and making things easier and also more difficult at the same time. Nevertheless, the time difference and me physically not being in Ukraine, I have still been able to, at the same time, perform my duties. Also why I have been able to do that is also because of COVID, because of the slowdown of our activities. And it feels like now is, I believe, there is no perfect time for a person in MBA, but just looking at the world and the global pandemic, I believe that now is one of the best times to pursue an additional education. And what we call, I would call it like the military badge, like an MBA or a PhD, when you can be more immersed into the educating yourself and just expanding your professional skill set. So yeah, I never resigned, and I still continue to be jumping from work meetings onto team meetings. And so far, of course, I do not fully understand how I could possibly leave the Chinese market. And I believe that I would not be leaving it. It's just at the moment I would like to transition all of my knowledge from Eastern Europe to Western Europe and start building the bridges with China from this geographical position. So I have a few American friends who went for an MBA 3 or 4 years ago, and I got inspired and started to look into it myself. Also understanding that as a professional, you do need to expand your skill set every 5 years or so. Otherwise, you would be outdating yourself in the job market and worldwide. So I started looking at the US schools, and I understood that it required a longer time commitment, and also it required me to relocate to a different part of the world, which I'm also familiar with because I did a 1-year exchange during my high school years in New Hampshire. So I am familiar with how it is to do that, but I was not fully ready for a 2-year commitment, which is the standard for the majority of US schools when you want to pursue an MBA. Then that brought me to an Access MBA fair in Kyiv 2 years ago. I went in, looked at the participating schools, and sat down to speak with the marketing manager from RSM, Charlene Bell. And first of all, we just clicked together as a human contact. I asked her personal opinion about my resume, what were the requirements for the school, and that's how it went. And at the same time, I still applied to a couple of US schools in Utah, but I did not. So I fully understood that that would not be my final choice, even in the case of me getting it. So RSM happened to be the best choice in terms of location, in terms of work and life balance for the future. That's something that I'm also considering, life after the MBA. The general, I believe, society here in the Netherlands is also very much to my liking. And prior to coming here, I went visiting, sightseeing the beautiful Tulip Park, Keukenhof. So I did know the knowledge of what the Netherlands was all about prior to coming here to Rotterdam. And also the curriculum corresponded to my vision of where I was to see myself after the studies. And I just like Erasmus University in general, also because of my professional network. I've been engaged with some scientists, and they are engaged actively in Erasmus Plus World Research Program. So I did know where I was going to, as long as the school was also willing to have me as the student. It at the end looked like a perfect match, and at the end it worked. I can think of at least two things. Number one, the Dutch weather. I cannot speak particularly about Erasmus campus. I guess it's specifics of the Netherlands, of the geographical location, but it's just changes so frequently that I'm having a hard time adjusting to winds and colds and sun, the changes that could happen even within one day here. Number two is the wonderful facilities here at campus. Bale Building is where we are stationed for the International Full-Time MBA office. Is a modern place. We have breakout rooms, study rooms, Maria's Cantina with unlimited free coffee and tea supplies. That is also something that was a pleasant surprise. These are the two main things that I can think of. And of course, there could be much more, but for the limit of time, I will stay with these 2 points. The case study that I'm currently participating in, that just started a week and a half ago, is the third case competition that I'm participating this year. In February, I participated in the very first MBA case competition by Kraft Heinz, and I had 2 wonderful teammates, and our team of 3 won their sustainability prize. So that was a very wonderful experience to understand the American companies operating here in the Dutch market and the job market and the initiatives in the sustainability, because our team particularly represented RSM and Erasmus University about the sustainability initiatives of the school, which was a big honor. The second case competition was this summer. It was buyer consulting. It was also a very wonderful experience working in a multi-functional team that consisted not only of MBA students, but also of master students and also bachelor students. And it was quite interesting to collaborate in the pharmaceutical field, and we had quite a challenge because the majority of us did not have any background in that field, but nevertheless, not winning it, the participation was great for the experience, for the exposure to network with the other participants from the other schools, and also to get to know the consulting side of Bayer as a company, and also just for the future job placement opportunities. It's just a great window. And the third case of competition that I'm participating in right now, and that will end in mid-December, is from Rotterdam Consulting Club. And it's just a hobby that I would like to keep in. And we are helping a Brazilian mining company to innovate and to help them find business opportunities to expand onto the European market. So all of these three case competitions are so diverse, and they are perfect to, especially the one that I'm involved in right now, to exercise the business knowledge and the skill set that we've acquired so far, especially in the innovation management. And we as the MBAs had this class in July, and it was one of my favorite classes. And that's also the prerequisite why I decided to combine my skill set in consulting so far and to explore the innovation field that I became passionate about since when we finished that class in summer. So now I would like to see what is innovation on the what does it really mean and how companies really implement it. And at the end, our team would also be getting an innovation certificate, which is also a good asset. So that's a little bit about why I'm participating in case competitions. And just during my life, I try to be active in different competitions, contests, clubs. I believe it's very good to meet new people and also to share knowledge. And also to learn a lot more. Time management is crucial in whatever you do. And here, while doing the MBA, that's what we learn on the way. And the majority of people who are not used to this pace of life in general have to master it. Otherwise, there's no way to get through this intensive 1 year full-time scheduled program. Through my work experience, I'm usually used to a fast-paced environment. I'm used to working in different time zones, to multitasking, and I believe that I also have this organizational skills coming from my mother, who has been an excellent example through my whole life. And that's how I'm managing. And yes, I do have to choose. So it's not without trade-offs and it's not without sacrifices, but it's all about prioritizing and using prioritizing matrices like Eisenhower matrix or other tools, Google Calendar, different reminders. So no one says it's easy, but at the same time, it's not impossible. And the advice from me for students who are looking at potentially first in an MBA at RSM or in general would be to recognize that if you choose a 1 year, a full-time program, then you need to be ready to sacrifice quite a few things. And you need to be conscientious enough to understand and to plan ahead. Yes, you cannot predict a lot of things. For example, we could not predict the rapid changes of how our classes were going through the year. When we landed, we had complete online classes from morning till late evening every day. And then from late spring, we went into hybrid mode. Now we're completely in person, but nevertheless, we're also ready every day that things could change. So it's all about being agile at the same time, as also having the long term and the short term planning. So it's the combination. And I guess you just need to have this internal attitude that you're capable, you can do it, believe in yourself, like all of those things that motivate you. And then if you feel challenges, it's also possible and needed to talk to people, to reach out to people so they can share their experience, and then you could get more confident and decide on your own whether this is your liking or not, whether this is something you can do or not, and so forth. One thing that's very important from my point of view is the staff that we daily interact here to educate us on a daily basis. I mean, the teachers, the professors, and also the full-time MBA office, like all the staff that's engaged with us. In my opinion, the professors are all top-notch, highly skilled. It's a different angle to look at their capability to teach because the teaching methodology is something that could be discussed differently, I mean, in the approaches to teach the students. But as professionals, I definitely recognize and I'm very honored to be taught by such teachers as Barry Standish for the Economic Environment of Business, for Mariaka Stevens, who taught us Operations Management class, also for Steven Sweldens, where we also had the marketing class, and also a few others. We just had such a big list of classes, and now we're into electives. And I was very happy to polish some skills in negotiations, and I loved the class in international negotiations by Patrick Crutan. So there are definitely many teachers who've inspired me and still do, and who I hope to be in touch with. And just the community here in RSM and in Erasmus is great. We did not have a lot of opportunity to interact with the alumni in person, but as we are transitioning into being alumni ourselves, there is hope. And also I know that we will be in this community forever now, and it's just great. So in general, the teachers is definitely something I need to emphasize, and being part of the whole community is the second point.